I was listening to some information online and I was thinking to myself, the world is not this black and white, how these influencers are trying to paint it. I understand that, you know, these content creators, they are, trying to make ends meet. They are trying to polarize people into these corners and, hoping to get some traction and some, views and clicks and the titles and the discussions. Most of them are far, far from intelligent. They are more, clickbaiting, more in the sense of getting a reaction from the audience. And they never, never, never propose any solutions. As many of them say, thank you for being such an idiot. You are giving me work for the rest of my life. So why would they present solutions, right? Few of them present solutions. So I look at society, and there was many changes in the roles that man and woman play in society. There was many changes since the introduction of the pill in the 60s, and then the you know legalizing of many medical procedures and whatnot. And fine, I mean, it's everything. It's fine, but uh, you have to understand that not everybody wants to be a parent, and when you give such freedoms, they call these freedoms Planned Parenthood, or what did they call it again? Reproductive rights. Or when you open the possibilities so much, there's going to be only a small percentage of the population that actually has the gift for being a parent, you know, and the majority are going to just follow their selfish desires, traveling, having a nice salary so they can buy, tons of shoes. They can do whatever in case of man, so they can have this car or this whatever and travel and be a playboy and do all those things. People will follow their selfish impulses, and there's going to be a small percentage, regardless of their religion or creed or color or whatever. There's only going to be a small percentage who would actually want to have a family of 5 children. But that's not enough, to sustain a nation. Inevitably, the nation is going to have to seduce, other people from other places to come in, because it's simply not enough. I would say more than half of the population just wants to follow their, impulses, their selfish impulses, and live. Eventually, they might have a wake up, event. It happens around 40, 45. We call this the wall. And the wall exists for men and women, and it's around the same age, 40 and 45. And they've lived their life according to their own selfish, reasons. And then they start, depressing, and they go into therapy, and they start consuming, pills and other stimulants and opioids and alcohol and whatever, because they made wrong decisions and whatnot. But is it their fault? I mean, look at the systems ever since the 1960s. The indoctrination system is 100% creating units of production. They want people to work. They don't want parents. They want people to work, men and women. They want everybody to have a salary, and that's what people are getting printed in these indoctrination centers, which nowadays, with the technological, changes, I wouldn't say evolution, I would say technological changes. The indoctrination centers are merely, kindergartens to take care of these kids while their parents, give away the best years of their life working. They're just, kindergartens, and they're not really teaching them anything anymore. Um, Let the magic bot do everything. Why worry? So anyway, I look at culture and society, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Ever since I can remember, I always thought to myself, this doesn't make any sense. There's no stimulation, there's no reward, and there's no logic in suppressing skillful, jobs. Jobs that require a specific skill, like carpenter or shoemaker or pot maker or a farmer, or they call this blue collar jobs. I say these are the most authentic and necessary jobs to maintain a healthy culture, a healthy and long culture. So I, in my opinion, found always repulsive that these are actually the ones who get lower salary compared to the rest that that went and made their diplomas and became working in some desk all day. I find it repulsive. No, these are the people who should get paid, and through the education system or indoctrination system, you ought to incentivize people to go into these jobs and pay them correct salaries, pay them the correct salaries. That definitely there's going to be people who want to choose a blue collar job instead of getting a degree, a 4-year degree in some university. For what? It doesn't make any sense. So I, you could say it's globalization, it's blah 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 blah, blah, but it's not. You are. It's a side effect of giving too much importance to, these theorists, these economy theorists, and these investors, and these philanthropists, these tech giants. They are controlling the world right now, like overlord, like fascist overlords, and they are shaping everybody to their models, which are extremely reductive, and they scratch any other person who has a different set of skills. They turned 90% of the population useless with their bullshit technology. And there's no pride in being a carpenter or a shoemaker, someone who a tailor, someone who does these things. There's no pride in that, and there's no incentive and no investment. These are the ones, in my opinion, that should be paid the best. you know but then again, this would imply the end of globalism. Yeah, yes, and yeah, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, we've always been I would say a globalist society, no doubt. But what they are trying to do now is turn it into a communist global, type of control. They want, communist fascist control of things. Anyway, that's what I think, because we've always been global. We've always been exchanging things. You know, all of those especiarias. How do you say that in English? Like paprika and other stuff. It doesn't exist here. So for centuries, that it's coming from abroad. That's globalization. That's the moving of stuff from other places. So anyway, there really isn't any incentive, and I would say, why do you want to form? Why are you pushing with your ideology, with your economist ideology? Why are you pushing everybody into having a 4-year or 5 or whatever degree in university? Yeah, who's gonna do the other jobs? Everybody's so focused into doing this specific thing because this is what is fashionable right now. For instance, it used to be fashionable, to be a coder, to code. Well, now it's useless. Everybody that studied and put an investment as a coding person, now it's useless. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is a society is not a society if they don't have diversity, if they don't diversify their job opportunities and make them worthwhile. Why everybody wants a degree? Why everybody wants to be a PhD doctor? Why everybody wants to, have a diploma or whatever? Those are some jobs, some, I don't know, percentage of the jobs that require to make a society function. Everybody is fighting for these jobs, while the rest is desert. Nobody wants to do them because they are not well compensated. I say compensate them fairly. Even let's even these salaries. I'm not a communist, but let's bring more compensation to the guy that does the roads. Let's give them more compensation to the guy that collects the garbage and keeps everything clean. Let's give more compensation to these people who builds houses. Let's give them more compensation. Let's treat them correctly. Because a person who works in construction, he's gonna have very late in life he's gonna have lots of troubles with his body. Construction is very, very rough. So he ought to retire more early, and he ought to have better health care. Give him retirement at the age of 50. I'm telling you, construction is really, really tough. If you start at 18 and you stop at 50, trust me. But no, they still want people to work until they're 60 or plus. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Other people, who have jobs that are more lighter, you know, work in offices and stuff, those are okay to work and continue, right? And retirement to be, some of these doctors, they don't even retire. They continue doing their work. Nothing really changes. That's why you make their retirement, farther away. Doesn't make any sense. Now, construction people, now that stuff, they are going to need therapy, you know, for the rest of their lives. Physical therapy, water therapy. You're gonna break your body, doing construction or working in a mine. But again, a society that doesn't care about these people, to me, is. And then you would say, oh, but in capitalism, communism, fascism, there always has to be, a poor class, otherwise it doesn't work. There always has to be a class of quote unquote slaves. I say we are smarter than that. We have to respect. We have to respect a little bit more people who do hard works, like building roads, building, stuff with the strength of, give them respect for the things that they do and pay them handsomely. You know, anyway, not everybody's cut to be a parent. Um, Luckily, we have this thing called biological clock, and it's actually that you could also call it Eros, the agent, the unseen agent, Eros or Cupid. That makes people do crazy things. And but with this abundance of castration and abortion, I mean, it's insane. This is going to impact the whole world. It's not just the West. It's already impacting the whole world. So the population is going to drop considerably worldwide. Again, only those who really want to be parents will be parents. Anyway, I think I'm gonna shut up. I might have forgotten something, but all right. Tell me what you guys think. Have a nice day.